Hey everyone, it's Jack from WhatCulture.com. Now, before we get into all of this week's exciting, delicious wrestling news, I do have to give a couple of shout outs first of all. Two young lads that I met at our USA leg of the Pro Wrestling World Cup in Manchester. First of all, Daniel Berkeley, who made me this wonderful keyring. It says WCPW on one side, Jack on the other side. Even at his age, I couldn't have made that. I was appalling at design and technology. That was my worst subject at school. And also Harry Clancy, who was just a cheeky young lad, asked for a shout out, said I was better than Ross and Plumpy, so he gets one as well. Cheers, guys. So yes, this is the fast count, and let's get straight into it with all of this week's WWE news. If you do a dog, this time I'll kick off. First off, there was, we all love it, there was some juicy backstage gossip about an argument between two figures in the wrestling industry. Apparently, on Monday night after Raw, a few of the wrestlers went to a bar and met up with some wrestlers from GFW Impact Wrestling, blah, 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 blah. And they were all getting on and stuff. And then Karen Jarrett, who remember, she's now married to Jeff Jarrett, used to be married to Kurt Angle, she went over to Braun Strowman and said, look, my kid is a very big fan of yours. Could he please have an autograph? This is all, reported, by the way. This isn't for definite, but this is just what I've seen on several news sites, including The Observer, I think. Yeah, Strowman apparently didn't know who she was and was quite rude to her, apparently. And then a big argument, ensued. Apparently, Karen Jarrett cut a savage promo on him in the bar and said, I'll tell his dad, who is Kurt Angle. Strowman then realised he'd really fucked up, and apparently got on his knees to apologise in front of a lot of the boys. So, a bit of drama there. Read into that what you will. I don't know if it'll affect Strowman's push at all. You'd like to think not, but at the same time, maybe he should have been a bit nicer. Maybe he was drunk. Who knows? The details are quite sketchy, but god damn. Damn, I feel amazing. Damn, I feel the majors. Mine is living on cloud 9 and this 9 is never on vacation. Kendrick, all my life I want money. Secondly, Brock Lesnar, the WWE Universal Champion, has said that he will fight Jon Jones anywhere at any time. On a boat, on a goat, that's Chris Jericho's old promo, but basically Lesnar has said he will fight Jon Jones in the UFC anywhere, anytime. Bit of a worry for WWE. Let's just clear up some of the details about Lesnar potentially returning to action. If he were to have a super fight with Jon Jones, a lot of people close to UFC, this is all via Meltzer, he says a lot of sources close to UFC have been reporting that the fight would take place in December, but then people closer to Lesnar apparently think a potential fight would take place in April. Obviously, April is the better one for WWE because it would come after WrestleMania, meaning that Lesnar could compete at Mania. Or would it? Because he'd have to go through like a training camp. Maybe it wouldn't. Who knows? But essentially, Lesnar is openly courting UFC once again and will have to serve the remainder of his suspension, which was frozen when he retired after his last fight against Mark Hunt, after which he got pinged, zapped for banned substances. So it's all up in the air. There's no doubt that UFC would love to have Lesnar back. He's a huge draw. A fight with Jon Jones, who's one of the most highly regarded heavyweights / light heavyweights in the entire UFC, that would be huge. And it's looking a bit sketchy for Lesnar's WWE run, and therefore, could it have big ramifications for his Universal title reign? Could we see it, taken away from him sooner than expected, possibly in that main event of SummerSlam against Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe, and Roman Reigns? And finally, as I reported on a video earlier today, there is a superstar shakeup rumoured for just after SummerSlam. This would involve not only trades between Raw and SmackDown, but also potentially some superstars from the main roster moving down to NXT. Very interesting indeed. There's no word on which superstars would potentially move down, but apparently it will be those who aren't really doing that well on the main roster and could use the kind of a smaller, more rabid fan base down in NXT. I wonder if it's established guys even like Dolph Ziggler who could be, moved down and help to reinvent themselves in the developmental territory, which, as we all know, is often far better than the main product anyway. And now it's time for all the crazy news from elsewhere in the world of pro wrestling. But one of these points is kind of WWE news because there wasn't that much big elsewhere news this week, so I've just stuck a bit of NXT news in, but you can barely notice. Now, Dave Meltzer, and he's not alone in doing this, but he has claimed that this year's G1 Climax over in New Japan Pro Wrestling could be one of the best wrestling tournaments ever. He acknowledged that at the start of the tournament, a lot of people were a little bit skeptical because the guys involved in the tournament were guys who'd been involved in the past few years' tournaments as well, and the only real surprise was Ibushi returning under his own name rather than as Tiger Mask W. So a lot of people were thinking, can they keep it fresh? Can they keep it exciting? And the answer is a resounding yes. There's been several fantastic matches so far. I've noted some of them down. You should check them out if you can. Omega versus Suzuki was brilliant. Ibushi versus Naito was probably my favourite match of the G1 so far. Ibushi versus Zack Sabre Jr., the Cruiserweight Classic final that we never got. Okada versus Elgin and Omega versus Elgin. Big Mike's been on top form. It's really exciting to see how this tournament's going to progress going forward. Omega did, of course, lose his last match, which has put to bed theories of him and Okada going undefeated in their block until they meet on the last day before the finals. So maybe Okada will also pick up a loss, or maybe Omega will defeat him in their third match, and then that'll kind of force him out of the final as well. A lot of possibilities still on the table, and we will all be very much glued to the action here at WhatCulture Towers. Except for Ross, because he doesn't like hipster bull. Now it's time for the NXT news, which have kind of slipped in. The women's title match has been confirmed for NXT Takeover Brooklyn 3. It will be a rematch between Asuka and Ember Moon for that women's championship. Asuka is now on, I think, one of the longest kind of title reigns in modern history. She's approaching Punk's, I think, even. But she is going to defend it against Ember Moon. And with this news of the Superstar shakeup happening after SummerSlam, which is the day after NXT Brooklyn 3, could that mean that we'll see an end to her title reign and see her called up to the main roster finally? My gut instinct says no. I think they'll find a unique way to get the title off her. And I don't think a straight singles match against someone she's already beaten is the route they'll go. But maybe they will. Ember Moon's a very good wrestler as well and would certainly deserve that title. Let's not forget as well, the men's title will be defended by Bobby Roode against Drew McIntyre. And finally, GFW/Impact Wrestling news. Since they've kind of stripped back their pay-per-view format and they only do a couple of pay-per-views a year, they've instead been slotting special shows on a Thursday during their regular TV slot. So on August 17th? Yes, August 17th we will see Destination X, a kind of special edition of Impact with lots of marquee matches. One headline match has been announced so far, and that is Bobby Lashley versus Matt Sydal. Of course, formerly known as Evan Bourne in WWE. You know what time it is, Phil.
I do.
What are you going to do?
Don't know yet.
Oh, good.
What's going to be?
Can't wait. It's time for my Wrestler of the Week. Wrestler of the Week. Yes, this week my Wrestler of the Week is none other than Big Mike, Unbreakable Michael Elgin. Someone I don't think I've given Wrestler of the Week to yet, but someone who is fully deserving of it after two excellent matches in the G1 Climax over the past 7 days. First of all, earlier in the week, Elgin lost to Okada in a fantastic match. That's no surprise. Okada is probably the best wrestler in the world right now and puts on fantastic matches with absolutely everyone, pretty much. He even got a fantastic comedy match out of Toru Yano, which I really liked. A divided opinion, but I really liked it. And then later on in the week, Elgin had a match with Kenny Omega, perhaps even better than the one against Okada. And shockingly, he actually won and defeated Omega, which, as I mentioned earlier in this video, puts to bed, I'm just forgetting how to talk towards the puts bed the theories of Okada and Omega going undefeated all the way through. So it was a surprising result, and he won with a burning hammer, the most dangerous of wrestling moves. Michael Elgin, well done. He is also through, it's worth mentioning, to the finals of our WCPW Pro Wrestling World Cup. Ticket details, wc.pw, of course. Elgin was one of two winners in the Canadian bracket and will go on to compete in the finals, and hopefully he'll also have some excellent matches there as well. Once again, a big shout out to Daniel for making this lovely keyring for me. Thank you very much. We love presents here at WhatCulture Towers. And there's not much more to say. Leave your opinions on the news in the comment section below. I've been Jack from WhatCulture.com. Phil behind the camera, don't embarrass me too much. I'll see you soon.